All right. I do want to thank everyone for making time for your agenda and meeting management minutes training. If I haven't met you already, my name is Michael. I've been consulting on this project thus far. And my goal today is to show us how to add minutes information to this agenda today. All right. I'm going to go over some ancillary features such as showing how to add speakers, how to take motion votes, how to take roll call. And I'll probably go ahead and publish a document with you just so we can reiterate and ingrain that publishing ability within the system. Okay. So first things first, I have to do my trite yet important Help Center commercial, right? Brought to you by CivicPlus. In this user menu, we have a Help Center, which basically is a library of information, all right? It's basically like our personal library of Alexandria, all right? It's a lot of great information pertaining to the site, and I can't go over every feature with you. However, this area does pretty much give you the ability to peruse and find those features yourself, okay? Today we're doing minutes training, so I'm going to type in snippets, minutes, probably minute snippets. I'll probably be specific. I'm going to insert minute snippets. So add and manage text snippets, right? So I'm going to click insert minute snippets. And let's say I wanted to add minute snippets, which basically are just pieces of information, be it it could be paragraphs, boilerplate, it could be motion text, anything you think that you would want to drop into that minutes area at a high clip, right? You may use it a lot, and rather than redundantly typing it out over and over, I'm all about efficiency. So I think it just makes sense to create snippets, and those snippets can be dropped in within that minutes module, right? And then utilized as needed. Keep in mind when you create these snippets, you can always modify them. And I'll be sure to go into it since I don't have a visual for you right now. Okay. Right now, we're looking at the instructions for how to insert minute snippets. So as always, I tell you, I'm pretty spoiled, right? I do have dual monitors, so I'll have my work up on one screen and on the other. I'll be working through it with this. Okay, so I'll click through this, and what this will do is it'll give me the ability to see a facsimile of the website, mirroring what I'll be seeing as I'm working through it every day. Okay, and this red outline indicates where should I be clicking to ensure that I'm following the right directions. And I also have extra assurance knowing that it explains to me on the right-hand side what I should be seeing as I click and follow the instructions, all right, provided to me here. All right, I'm a tactile learner, so this is extremely helpful for me. However, you may be a visual learner. All right, so we do just have screenshots as well. And those screenshots mirror the site also, and those red outlines akin to what I said earlier, indicating where you should be clicking to ensure that you're taking the right steps to accomplish your task. Okay, and directly above the screenshots are explanations as to what you should be seeing, right, as you walk through these steps. All right. Any questions as to how to arrive at this help center or how to utilize it? No questions. And if anyone's shy, don't feel free to use the chat to drop in a question. I will be checking that frequently as well. All right. So we're gonna get to this minutes, and we're gonna go straight to the meetings tab. Right. I always tell you I wish it was called agendas, but I don't complain in front of you all, so it is what it is. But basically, here's where all the agendas are stored. All right. And basically, what happens is for the minutes module, it is located inside the agenda itself. So let's click into this agenda that I've already created for this training. And what you'll see is basically the outline for the agenda and one of my favorite songs in life, right? And just keep in mind the length of the song. I've added that because there is a feature that is going to help truncate this item and show it in a different capacity. All right. Uh, but from here, it's not a lot to do. We're going to go straight to that minutes module. So in the upper right-hand corner, we're going to click go to minutes. All right. And then we're going to come here and it takes us to the minutes setting area. All right. Because you all have CP Media and you want to live stream, whenever you have that encoder set up, the first thing you want to do is turn the encoder on. All right. That's going to send a signal to this site. And next, you want to go ahead and click set live. All right. Once you turn the encoder on and click set live, you want to immediately scroll back up and click set to current. All right. So as it stands, we've gotten to this mid setting area. We've turned on our encoder. We've immediately turned set live and not simultaneously because we only have one mouse, but quickly, right? Scroll up and click set to current time. And that's going to start those timestamps on your recording, right? So you can bookmark the various sections and items as the meeting is going along. All right. So now that we've turned on the encoder, we have the stream going. Now we want to use this show items by short name feature. I'm going to click this, and what that does is that lyrics I showed you a few moments ago, it's going to show a more concise version of that within this module so we can refer to it, however, it doesn't take up too much space on our page. All right. Other than that, if you scroll back down, at any point, if you're going to pause the stream, let's say you're going to a different session, you can always come here, pause the stream, and then show that pause message. You can type in a message giving visibility as to why the stream is no longer showing a live meeting, right? Just conveying to the residents what's going on so they can be at ease. All right. So just to recap, when you first get to this page, you want to turn the encoder on. You want to click set live, get that stream going, right? And then we want to immediately scroll back up and click set to current time to get those bookmarks rolling. All right. All right. And then we'll also have that show items by short name enabled so we can see a more concise version, a revised or a reduced version of an exorbitantly long item. All right. Any questions behind this area of the settings?
Yeah. I have a question. You mentioned you have to turn the encoder on. Can you just show me where that is again? I might have just missed that.
Oh, I wish I could. I don't
Actually,
have.
actually, this is Peggy. That was gonna be my comment. So we
Yikes.
only use the encoder for the city council meetings and the planning commission. So can you tell me how it might be different if we use if we're gonna upload a Zoom video, but we still want to make the minutes?
If we're gonna, are you streaming via Zoom?
No. Well, it's over Zoom. The committee
Yes, the
meetings.
committee stream over Zoom.
That's fine. It'll be the same process. You turn the stream on for Zoom first, and then you simply come down to set live, and then expediently just come in here or expeditiously come in here and click set the current time, right? But the process would be the same, be it an
Okay,
encoder or the Zoom. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah. All right.
thank you.
No, you're welcome. Yeah. Next, we're gonna go to this view minute settings drop down. All right, we're gonna go to this minute summary area. All right. And basically what it does is gives us a summary of the sections and items of the agenda. Okay. Keep in mind, there's a lot more space here than you typically see, and that is because it's going to add tags, right, for any work we've done within the minutes module. So as we take roll call, as we take discussion notes, as we take motion votes, things of that nature, tags will be added, right, indicating where work has been done. Because frankly, a lot of municipalities do not do the minutes the same day. They may take notes here and there. However, they may come back and flesh out, right, in its entirety within this minutes module, the information that has been taken during the meeting. So these tags become valuable because when you come back days later, you don't have to try to remember what you've done. You kind of have a summary as to what's already been accomplished and where to go forward from there. Okay. So I'm going to click into the item or section, right, to get the meeting started. As soon as you click into a section, first thing you want to do, click a timestamp, right? I'm going to mention this ad nauseum today. You're going to be annoyed with me. That's okay. I'm a middle child. I'm used to being annoying. But keep in mind, these are going to be very helpful, like when you have your recording, because it's going to create timestamps for each section in each item. So every time you change placement, you always want to add a timestamp. All right. So here we are in this view edit mode area. We've added a timestamp, okay? And here we have a discussion box. This discussion box, basically, this is where you add the minutes information, all right? Anything you add in here is gonna show up on that minutes document. So of course, this is a text field, so whatever you type in here is gonna show up as you've entered it. Okay, there are formatting tools. So of course, if you want to add color, you want to update sizes. I mean, you have fun with it, but keep in mind that this is going to be how it shows up when you publish it. Okay, but feel free to peruse these options for formatting, adding links and photos if needed. Okay. You do know where you are because it confirms the section here. And on the right-hand side, you'll see a miniature agenda, right? I haven't quite found a good vernacular for this glowy thing, but I like it. It helps me confirm where I am on the agenda. And yeah, so anytime you want to know where you are during the meeting, this basically tells you what you're taking notes on, right? Wherever you see it flashing. All right. Also, I have autosave on. If you like pain, you can save it manually. These meetings go pretty fast. So, I mean, you could add information and save it as you want to, but inherently, I just think it makes more sense to have autosave on, right? So this thing's saving by itself without you having to keep going back and forth to make sure that information is stored. All right. First thing we want to do is take a roll call. Roll call is located up here. Right now, there's no record of anything being taken, but if we click roll call, we'll see some names that have been populated contingent upon who's been added to this board. All right. So if we come to each name, we can have some options. And here we have present and voting. Basically, this person is in attendance of the meeting and plans to vote. All right. Present and not voting. I usually see this when someone's present and they just frankly, don't feel like voting, or they're probably only going to vote in case of a tie. All right. Absent, pretty straightforward. They just aren't present. Excuse. The only thing to distinguish an excuse from an absence status would be perhaps the person let me know in advance as to why they will not be at the meeting. So I would mark them as excused rather than absent. Okay. If everyone's present and voting, just be lazy. I don't say lazy is a negative connotation. Be efficient. There we go. And click mark all as present and voting. Right. And these are not unchangeable statuses. So if at any point you thought somebody was present and you just noticed that they weren't actually there, you can change it to absent. It's okay. But save yourself time if you can. All right. And once these are recorded, you'll see this update here as well. Okay. And then only people who are present and voting will show up when it's time to record motions and votes. All right. Before we move forward, any questions about these options or when you come to sections, adding the timestamps? Okay. Well, we have snippets here as well, right? So I have added a few snippets. And here we have what? Call to order. So I just put a snippet I put in, right? I saw from the document. And at any point I drop this in, you don't have to use this, but it's just helpful to have rather than typing it out manually every time. Saving the rigmarole and just clicking the snippet, and you can modify it as you need to. Okay. So if we go to the next agenda section or item, we can go to the next section. Always click the timestamp first. Remember that we want to have those bookmarks in place for each section so the residents aren't forced to watch the entire video if they don't care about that subject. They can do it, watch the video pertaining to the bookmarks that have been set up within this area. All right. So here we have snippets, and keep in mind, these can be created at any time, right? So anytime you create them, they'll be available for you. And if you need help with that, let me know. I'm happy to help you build some out. All right. Here we have a speaker feature. Some people have people submit requests to speak before the meeting, right? That's where this becomes vital, right? I can click speaker and then I can add a name. And basically, I don't know who's gonna speak, right? I watched a lot of 2020 with my mom growing up, so me and Barbara Walters are like that, right? And I'm gonna add her as a speaker, and you can add as many people as you need to. So keep in mind, as you add people, you can choose the role. The minutes is up to you how long they're gonna speak, and you're just keeping record of who was there and who spoke, right? So as you add people, you'll notice that it collapses, right? And then, oh, I must have typed something. Hold on. That's unusual. Why is it doing that? There we go. That's more like it. Well, that's cool. I don't know who Mary Jane is, but hi. All right, so whoever you add as a speaker basically is going to show up here. And when you collapse, it'll give you a summary. But as you expand it, it'll show you who was added and then the information about what they spoke and what their role was. Okay, everything here is editable, so you can always come here and modify. If Ms. Walters said, "Hey, there's no S in my name," okay, Fine, I'll remove the S. All right. You can always update things as needed. And then you can also track their time, right? You all don't have Live Meeting Manager, which is an add-on feature. But if you did, you could also broadcast like who's speaking and how much time they've been speaking for, right? But since you don't have that, you could still keep record personally, just checking on it by clicking this call button. And what that'll do is it'll start a timer. Okay, and then you now know how long they've been speaking and how long they have left. So you can kind of give them that snarky side eye, letting them know, hey, your time is running out, or the classic pointing at your watch with your index finger. It's always that. So letting them know their time is coming to an end to speak. All right. At any point, you can also pause, right? Or I don't know why you want to do this, but you can add time to their speaking as well. All right. Or if an alarm goes off and people have to evacuate and then reconvene, you can always reset their timer, right? Giving them their time back so they can start speaking again. All right. Barbara wants to speak a lot. Okay. All right. Yeah. And at any point, if someone said they were going to show up and didn't, you can always remove people at any point. All right. And this is good just in case you need to come back, and keep in mind, it's going to remain this way until you modify it. All right. Any questions about adding speakers? There must be many of us in there at one time. Any questions about adding speakers?
I have a question. This is Peggy. Do you have to set a time?
When you say, well, a time has to be selected by default, but you don't have to call it per se. But a time is going to be requested upon, like, if you see an asterisk adjacent to the field, it's
Okay.
pertinent to the saving of the data. Yeah.
So this is where you'd, for instance, put public commenters for 3 minutes.
Yes,
And
exactly.
then for any kind of presentation, you would also give them their time.
Mm-hmm.
So this is
Yes.
where, okay, because this
Yeah.
is how you add the notes to the minutes. This is where you'd put that discussion into the discussion would be the
Ex-
notes on the minutes.
Exactly. When you see
Okay.
the word discussion, just correlate that with notes for minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
Good question. Okay. All right. So as we move to the next section, we'll go to presentations. As I said, you always want to do timestamps. Each section we go to, always do timestamps. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to try a motion. All right. So we're going to click the word motion. And what this does is pulls up an area that we can start adding a motion name. If you left click, it'll give you 4 kind of out of the box shortcut motions, be it table, adjourn, amend, and approve. Now, we're going to take a quick detour, right? And we're going to see where this is located. You can always add more shortcuts if you want to using data source options, specifically agenda item motions. And these are the 4 out of the box that are available. However, if you think there are 4 more than these that you want to add to be as shortcuts to add as motion names, far be it from me to stop you, right? You can remove these and add what's pertinent to your process to make it reflect what's needed for you. All right. But it is a text field, so you can always type in here as well. And as you type that in, it'll now become a data point. So you can extract this and use this motion name other places. All right. So when it's time to vote, we'll scroll down, and here we have the card view. You know, it's resplendent. It's full of the fanfare. It's for the cool kids. I'm not into it. Really, I'm a list view kind of guy. I'm gonna strip all the formatting. It's more plain Jane, but it gives you the same information. Okay. It's just some people it's harder to read with all the designs and colors. So just an alternate view to ensure that you can record the information, but you still are able to understand what's going on. Right. So here I'm going to choose who initiated, and I'm going to choose who seconded, and then I'll just take the votes, right? If everyone voted yes, like I said, efficiency. It's all about efficiency, right? Just put mark all as yes. But if someone wants to be a negative Nancy, maybe she said no. All right, we still passed. All right, we see the results here, and then you can record the result. We always want to record the result. Okay, so be it it's 4-1, we know it passed, so we always want to save that, and now we have that as a data point. Okay, so now we've recorded that, we can come back here and we can enter it manually, or we have snippets, right? I have a motion chart that I've added already, right? If we drop in this motion chart using these motion minute snippets, it'll drop in this information pertaining to what has been recorded via this motion area. Okay. Any questions as to how to take motions and how to utilize this motion snip or minute snippet to use this motion chart.
Sorry, this is Peggy again.
Do
Sorry,
it.
have all the
No,
questions.
come on, don't do that. Yeah.
So the motion, if we already know and have a sample motion written, do we have to retype it here, or is it some way populate?
That's a good idea. Unfortunately, it doesn't repopulate. But that would be a good idea to submit via the feedback form because that would be useful. I could see that.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be a good thing to add if you already have it written out so that they could read it from the agenda item, from the agenda itself.
Yeah, our current system, Granicus, moves in the suggested motion and it's, you know, automatic. It also records the vote for us. It's not a two-step process as it is here.
Could you possibly use the minutes snippets to populate regular text and then just use that in the motion field?
Good. Uh, you could. Yeah, I can see that. I've never seen that utilized, but that is an idea. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? All right, we'll move forward. We're gonna get out of here, go to this minutes tab, and what we're gonna see now are tags, right? Pertain to everything we've done thus far. So these tags are just letting me know the work I've done. So if I return days later or weeks later and I want to finish out these minutes, hopefully not weeks later, but life happens. We can come in here and I'll already know what I've done. So keep in mind, if I go back into this item or this section rather, and I want to confirm that I've completed everything I need to do with this, I can click this in progress button. That will now have a tag called completed that'll show up for me. So if I go to this minutes tab, I'll now see it has completed. So now when I come back, I don't have to try to recall what I've done already. I already see a completed tag. So I can just move forward to the next item, be it this beautiful song. Okay. And keep in mind, I added that show item by short name. So that would make this truncated. So it's not showing the entire lyrics. However, we can get a gist as to what the item is, right? Just based on what's showing up here. Okay. So keep in mind, as you're going through these agenda items, you always want to put timestamps. I know I'm saying it ad nauseum, but hey, repetition is the mother of mastery, right? I guess the cousin of annoyance too. All right, so we're gonna go to adjournment. All the way down to adjournment, we always want to do timestamps. So even up to the last section, even that adjournment, you always want to put a timestamp, right? We don't want to let a section or an item go by within this agenda without us placing a timestamp because we want bookmarks while this is live streaming. So when the recording comes out, those are in place. Okay. So we'll go back to this minutes area. And in the event there's a section, let's say for instance, that is discussed out of order, we have a reorder button. Okay. So let's say public comment was discussed later than usual. We could always move that order. Okay. And save that. Now, what'll happen is essentially when we create these minutes, it's good. The system is going to ask us, do we want to utilize the agenda item order or the minutes item order? This would be considered the minutes item order, just giving visibility to the residents that this item was not discussed in its original instance that was displayed on the agenda. Okay. Any questions around the tags, right? Or reordering a section?
One quick question, if you missed getting the correct timestamp on there, like it started for a while and then you click timestamp, can you go back after the fact and change it or not?
Absolutely. You would go into the event and then go into event media and you can change that. So if that ever does occur, you can let me know. I can either send you a help center article or we can just convene together and I can show you how to get there during one of our meetings.
Okay.
All right. Keep in mind, when the meeting is done, you want to go to minute settings and never forget to stop that streaming, right? So it's gonna say end live. Since it says set live now, you would have clicked it already, of course, and then you want to come back in here and click end live to stop that streaming. You don't want any hot mics or you want to catch anything that doesn't need to be streamed. All right. So once we're done streaming the meeting, we can go now to the agendas area to publish the minutes. So if I go to, as a matter of fact, I want to do one more thing. Let's go to minutes area. We can preview the minutes as well. So let's go to minutes preview because you do want to see how it's going to look before you publish it. So right now, there's no indentation. In our system, typically it removes the indentation when you're adding items. As you can see, this shows no indentation. However, I'm going to go to summary real quick. And typically I implement a workaround. Like I would go ahead and use this snippet I call spacing, right? And it would basically be a placement for an indentation. And I would add whatever detailed or discussion information I want to add inside of that snippet. So this would feign an indentation for me. Okay. So if I go back out and I go to that preview, it now would have this in line with the sections and items, as opposed to without that snippet, it just showing up without the indentation. So if there's a preference you have, keep in mind, you do have that spacing snippet to utilize to ensure that you can have your minutes document displayed as you desire. All right, any questions behind utilizing that? All right.
Actually, one quick question. Does that also happen for the voting? I saw down below that, it shows where the voting, if you go back to the minutes. The snippet, if you go down to where they voted,
Yeah, so if
that
I go in,
table, would that
Yeah.
also be within the snippet?
yeah, I just dropped it inside the snippet just now.
Okay.
Yeah, and I add spacing as well. I'm a stickler about spacing, so
And can you do that live when you take the vote, or do you have to copy and paste it in there?
it's either or. It just there's no preferable method.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I go back now, let's check it out. All right, it'll be more in line this time. Okay. So if I go to the agenda area, this is outside of the module. We've now left the minutes module. We're back inside the agenda. Now we're going to publish a minutes file. So we're going to go to agenda files and we're going to click create and upload, right? And then we're going to click files to create. We're going to choose minutes. Now we're going to choose, think of a creative name. Here we go. That'll do it. All right. And then order. Here's where you can choose the agenda item order, which is the order of the original agenda. And then that minutes item order pertaining to that updated section ordering that is going to be conveyed because I did rearrange where that section was located initially. All right. Once I create that file, I'll now have a file I can download or publish. Keep in mind, if you don't feel like you're comfortable using this minutes module off, like initially when you first launch, you can always upload minutes documents, right? Using your word processor or what your current process is, right? You can give it a name here, just label it minutes and extrapolate that from your device, and then it'll upload just as needed, right? I don't want you to feel pressure to have to learn how to use this module and off the bat. I mean, take your time, but a lot of municipalities do both. They might do the original process and then practice using the system until they gain proficiency and feel comfortable simply using the system for recording minutes. All right. So once that minutes document is published, well, it's not published, that's a misnomer. Once it's generated, we now can come to this publish area and we can publish it. So we can go to the public portal and keep in mind, each row has a designated file type, right? So this third one is only for minutes. So we're going to publish that minutes file, that 123, right? And if we need to publish it on a future date, of course, we can do publish on date and choose that date as well. We're going to publish immediately, all right? And I'll go ahead and publish it to both portals. I'll go to the board portal as well and publish that minutes too. So now I should have a minutes document that has been published to both the public as well as the board portal. All right, so if I open up that public portal, I'm actually going to go in and label this event real quick so I know which one it is, just for my sanity. Minutes training. There we go. That'll do it. All right. So for now, if I go to the public portal, just look for minutes training, see if I can find that. And there we have it. All right, I see that download icon indicating there's a minutes document ready for me to download. I'll click into that, and then I will see, all right, the minutes discussion information that's been presented here with the spacing and without the spacing. I see my beautiful song, right? And I see that item ordering that's been misplaced, okay? That public comment. And if I do have an attachment, you can always see like any attachment directly below the agenda if you want it on the minutes attachment. So keep in mind, you have to choose to have it there, not to make sure it's not going to be there inherently. You have to go out of your way within the item settings to make sure that that item attachment is present. Okay. Keep in mind, if you want to share the minutes documentation with your team, you can send it this way as well, right? Send it to users within the system or external email addresses and just give it a subject, a body, and then the minutes, just choose that file and then send it out, right? And then the recipient would get that as a PDF attachment. Okay. So any questions about publishing the minutes or generating that file or sending it as a PDF attachment?
So I have a question that's not on this topic particularly, but during the meeting, we often have items that are pulled off the consent agenda to be discussed individually. So do we have the ability to create a new section? And how does that work? Also, items that are added to a meeting agenda once it starts.
So the minutes module reflects the agendas. So you simply have to do that on the agenda side. If you do that on the agenda side, only thing is you probably have to, I mean, just portal wise, you might have to upload an amended agenda contingent upon what modifications have been done throughout the meeting. But the minutes module itself, you really can't do a lot of modification because it's simply extrapolating information using the agenda itself as a data point. So all changes would have to be done to the agenda side. So it could be mirrored on the minutes module.
Not a great answer for us.
Okay.
That's a big issue for us, actually. We routinely have items pulled off consent. And to not be able to manage that during the meeting and to have to amend the agenda, that's a lot of work.
Okay. Yeah. I could reach out to Greg, see if he
Yeah,
has an
I definitely
alternative.
pass that comment along. That's not good.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. So if we go back to the meetings tab, we'll see that agenda basically confirming that this minutes area has the file published to the public as well as the board portal. So we know where that lives going forward. Okay. So that pretty much wraps up what I wanted to show you today, right? In regards to adding discussion notes, recording speakers, taking roll call, learning how to live stream, and taking motion votes from within that minutes module. So is there anything anyone would want me to further expound upon or recap that we've reviewed today?
This is Peggy. So that's just this is kind of a follow-up to Christine's comment. So that would basically mean we would have to amend the agenda because it's already been published. So that's a permanent document that for retention purposes. So to go back and amend the agenda, you would then just change the title of it to amended, or is that how it would work?
In the portal where it typically says documents been published, the verbiage would change to amended once it's re-uploaded.
Automatically, or you would add it?
No, that's an automatic setting. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna stop the recording.